church is changing amid the pandemic. Good evening, I'm Jenna Browder.
And I'm John Jessup. Well, for decades, the number of megachurches in America had been on the rise, but COVID has caused major changes, transforming the way Christians worship.
And that includes the size of congregations. CBN's Wendy Griffith looks at the growing trend going small.
And crown him Lord of all.
It's Sunday morning at Blackwater Baptist Church in Virginia Beach, a country church that dates back to 1774. Although small to begin with, the pandemic has driven down the number of people in the pews.
I think we had about 100, 110 coming, and now I think today there was like 68, 70, so somewhere around 30%, maybe a little more.
Senior Pastor Lynn Hardaway says they felt the need for quick changes to keep the church going.
We did some outside services, parking lot services. They've changed the way they do communion, the way they take offerings, no more passing things between people.
Praise in the likeness of his resurrection. Congratulations.
Last summer, they even borrowed a circular horse trough for outdoor baptisms, held Bible studies under the trees, featured an outdoor movie night, and like most churches, turned to live streaming services for those not attending in person.
Our folks learned how to do Facebook and how to do social media. I was very proud, especially of the elderly people, that they took on the challenge.
Today, about 380,000 churches dot America's landscape. Of that number, only some 1,500 are considered megachurches that average 2,000 or more each weekend. The majority, however, are about the size of Blackwater Baptist or smaller. And according to a Faith Communities Today study, half of U.S. congregations have 65 people or fewer.
So that lets you know that God's people prefer, by and large, smaller settings.
Let God break into your life so you can have part of His glory. Let God shake. Please stand up on your feet. Hallelujah.
Pastor Moses Asamoah of Living Destiny, a small church in Norfolk, Virginia, agrees the isolation caused by COVID is creating a hunger for intimacy.
Somebody actually joined us because they were looking for that place where they could actually walk with their pastor and know the people in the congregation. So the mega church has its place, but there's a desire to be actually hands-on.
Unfortunately, the pandemic has caused many smaller churches to close their doors, while others are barely clinging to life. That's not the case, though, at Living Destiny. Pastor Asamoah says despite moving mainly to online services, especially during 2020, they have thrived and even bought a new building.
We actually saved more money during COVID than ever before. I mean, it's amazing because salaries did not change, the rent did not change. So maybe we saved a few dollars on water and electricity because people were not in the building that much. But the main bills of the church remained the same. And so to be able to save that much was just God.
Pastor Asamoah believes prayer led to their success.
The amazing thing is that our theme for the year 2020 was our year of the secret place, based on Psalm 91. And so in March, when it hit, it was like, this makes sense. This is our year to just abide in God's presence. And so the church did well. I mean, because we stood upon the word of God, right? Because God had prepared us up until that time.
Pastor Asamoah's wife, Delali, says the church's women's ministry also grew stronger.
When it went on Zoom, this is where the young people thrive. They love the technology. What happened was I was able to merge the women's ministry with the young adult ladies, and it was amazing.
No matter what the devil does, no matter what assault he makes on the church, God always wins.
In addition to pastoring Blackwater Baptist, Lynn Hardaway oversees nearly 100 mostly small churches as part of the Bridge Network. He knows how challenging the pandemic has been.
Pastors are struggling emotionally with having lost so many members and not sure how to get them back. And some have died. Some of members that they've loved have died from COVID or suffered through it. And I know everyone in the nation has a sense of this, but pastors especially, because we're people pleasers by nature. And there's no way we can please people right now. There's too many different ideas, mask or no mask, vaccination or no vaccination, and So it has affected the pastors. Some of them are retiring. Some of them are just getting out of ministry.
And according to church growth expert Tom Rayner, 90% of those watching live stream services at the beginning of the pandemic have dropped off.
So now they're not attending church, and they're not watching Facebook. Now, they may be catching one of the TV pastors, but we don't know.
Hardaway worries that those who choose not to attend in person may be in danger of losing other, even more important Christian disciplines.
Like prayer and reading the scriptures and fasting or whatever disciplines you're doing. So I would say it's important to be around other Christians who are facing the same things that you're facing. It just doesn't happen if you stay home.
As for the future, Hardaway believes the smaller church will continue to appeal to those who want to be close, intimate, and known. And maybe since COVID has isolated so many, as people begin to emerge and reconnect, they'll be looking for that smaller congregation to call their church home. Wendy Griffith, CBN News, Virginia Beach.
All right, thank you, Wendy. Well, Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy has left an everlasting mark on America, and it stretches well beyond our borders.
That's right. In fact, Jenna, one of France's largest evangelical churches is named after him. And as George Thomas reports from Paris, it's working to live up to the legacy of Dr. King for the sake of the kingdom.
In a communist, socialist, and conservative suburb of Paris, a song of reconciliation and unity is rising. And with it, a message that's attracting people from diverse backgrounds.
I don't have to build a church. I have to build a place where people will be loved, will be changed by the Holy Spirit and by the power of God.
I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream.
French pastor Yvonne Caluer founded Martin Luther King Church here in Paris's Chrétien neighborhood after drawing inspiration from the civil rights leader's message of unconditional love.
Loving people as they are, and don't try to make them look like you are, but just love them and introduce them to a God who will change them.
Every valley shall be exalted.
Like Martin Luther King, Caluer says he too had a dream to create a space where blacks, whites, and people of other racial backgrounds could come together and reflect the diversity of Paris.
When God asked me to ministry, he asked me to be a minister in Paris area. So when I came, I realized that more than 50% of the kids in Paris area have an African dad or mother. So more than 50% of the newborn babies are mixed, and I love it.
Caluer's dream is now a reality.
We have now like 20% all black, 10% all white, 10% Asian, and 60% cannot be defined. Jesus color.
And that message of love shared across racial lines has been a unifying force for positive change.
This is what I think is the most touching and most extraordinary aspect of this church. Everyone is mixed. All cultures are represented.
I've been here since the church first launched, and to see how much it's grown is amazing. The work is enormous, and it's a blessing to many people.
MLK is now one of the country's largest evangelical churches, prompting French newspaper Le Monde to call Yvonne Caluer a rising figure in France's Protestant movement. MLK, which is about 7 miles southeast of Paris, is rather remarkable for its size. You see, in all of France, there are about 2,500 evangelical churches, and the average church has about 100 people. MLK went from 17 years ago to over 3,000 people today.
Sur ta confession de foi, Je te baptise au nom du Père, du Fils et du Saint-Esprit.
During a recent weekend service, 76 people from different walks of life and racial backgrounds professed faith in Jesus Christ in water baptism.
And we haven't seen so many people coming to Jesus like now. God is moving in France like never.
Evangelicals make up just 2% of the population here, and their numbers are growing. A recent report found evangelicals becoming a majority within the French Protestant movement. Caluire says the pandemic led to even greater numbers as new people flocked to the church's online services.
We already reach more than 30 to 40,000 every week. And when you look at Google Analytics, we see what is very good, that a lot of non-believers are watching.
Because of the growth, Caluire says the church needed a bigger place to meet. So in September 2021, the new Martin Luther King space opened here in the southeastern suburbs of Paris. At a cost of $30 million, a foundation operates it as part church, part community center. And because of its community influence, Pastor Caluire says local government authorities were all too happy to chip in more than $3 million toward the building's fund.
That's why we can have money from the state, the government, the county, etc. They all give to the foundation. The foundation is the owner of the building, and the church rent the building.
Church services are held Saturday and Sunday in the building's 1,000-seat auditorium. The rest of the week, it's open to the community for rent. Companies have held fashion shows, car shows, and music concerts. Members of other religious groups have also held their events here. Caluire sees it as a model for people not typically drawn to a church building per se to be introduced to the gospel.
My goal for me is I want Jewish, Muslim, atheist, political, artists, all of them, they all need to be loved by God, to be transformed by the Holy Spirit, and to become loving of each other like Martin Luther King did.
In spite of its staunchly secular traditions, Pastor Caluire says God is on the move in France and takes heart in what he's doing in churches like MLK.
So now it's really a foretaste of heaven.
George Thomas, CBN News, Paris.
Help and hope. When we come back, meet a couple offering both to widows and orphans in Israel.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-943-5494. That's 1-800-943-5494.
Now.
Do you listen to the TV on high volume or have trouble hearing conversations? Then you would benefit from hearing aids. Don't waste thousands on expensive hearing aids when you can get Nano's revolutionary technology for just $297. Don't be fooled by higher-priced hearing aids. The CIC Recharge is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. With rechargeable technology many customers say is superior to more expensive models. Call now and get not 1, but 2 Nano hearing aids for just $297. $297. Plus, we'll add a portable charging case and ship your order absolutely free. The CIC Recharge has a tiny in-the-ear canal design that is nearly invisible. Why keep missing out on important conversations or waste thousands of dollars? Call and get 2 CIC Recharge hearing aids for only $297 and free shipping.
800-475-0664. Again, that's 800-475-0664.
Welcome back. When someone dies prematurely, it can threaten the stability of a family and leave an emotional hole for those left behind to grieve the loss.
In Israel, one organization is reaching out to these suffering people using the Bible as their guide.
Once a week, this home is filled with kids playing, parents meeting, and volunteers helping. It's called Amitzim, which in Hebrew means the brave. The goal of Amitzim is to fulfill the biblical mandate found in the scriptures to embrace and strengthen the widows and orphans. About 12,000 families in Israel have suffered the death of a parent.
What we do here is what God said in Exodus 22. Listen, hear the voice of the orphan and the widow. And God says, I hear their voice. You listen to their voice. And this is our obligation.
Hadass Glick began this effort several years ago. Her husband died in 2001 from a stroke. Yehuda's wife died in 2018, and later he and Hadass married. Now this former widow and widower reach out to these families in need.
We understand how strong of a power and effect a father means to his children, a mother means for her children, and so we come to give a hand and to strengthen, but not to replace.
Netanel has been a widower for 3.5 years.
I quickly understood that this was a place where they spoil us. They have, good fruit and food cut out for us. We don't have to work because we're on 24/7. When you're raising 3 children on your own, you don't really get any time to rest. And I could sit down and my kids wouldn't be on top of me as they are all the time. It was a place where I could rest. And then I found that it wasn't just a place where I could rest, it was a place where I could be amongst peers, amongst people that have had a similar experience to mine, which provides a sort of safety.
My husband passed away 2 years ago. We have 2 daughters, one 8 and one 6 years old. We got to know the Amitzim Club. It's really good for us here. They take care of us. They provide for us. It's really encouraging that there is a group of widows and widowers here that together, once a week, help each other. I'm really happy that I met Yehuda and Hadass. They are, for me, simply amazing people.
Trained volunteers serve hot meals and love.
They open the heart. They come to open the heart. They come to get warm from us, from all the volunteers here. We come every Wednesday, meet the people. We know them, we know their names. We ask if they are not coming. They're surprised if we call. Why didn't you come last week? Oh, this week I will come. I will come this week. And they are very happy from this place.
13-year-old Hila lost her mother 2 years ago to cancer. For her and her dog Louie, it's a safe place.
It's nice to be in the company of equals.
And what's your favorite activity here?
The chatting.
It helps the people here that Hadass and Yehuda clearly know the devastating loss of a spouse.
When we see these orphans and widows, and I just sit around and talk to them, they're alone, nobody remembers them. And here is somebody who's caring for them and remembering them, and it gives them strength. You can't believe. Then they go back home, and they're like a new person.
We realize that when you don't have a father or you don't have a mother, the home needs support. What we're doing here is making a new concept, rebuilding the Torah words into reality.
They look to Isaiah the prophet who said, "Learn to do good, seek justice, rebuke the oppressor, defend the fatherless, plead for the widow." Glick feels the goals of Amitzim go hand in hand with the Shalom Jerusalem Foundation that he founded. It seeks to build up Jerusalem and increase Jewish access to the Temple Mount.
The Bible refers to an orphan, but always says the orphan and the widow. It says when you're celebrating with me, your holiday at the temple, include the orphan and the widow. When you're bringing your harvest, don't forget to include the orphan and the widow.
Hadass and Yehuda hope to establish 10 centers like this one throughout Israel. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Amitzim Center, Jerusalem.
Wonderful story. Thank you, Chris. The Spirit moving in Sin City? How Las Vegas missionaries are helping the church grow with the help of social media.
If you're over 50, imagine you could turn back the clock on your stiff, achy joints 10, even 20 years. Imagine you could do this without products that just temporarily hide the symptoms and may have side effects. Imagine no more. Introducing Instaflex Advanced. Get a complimentary sample just by texting MOVE to 231231. Instaflex Advanced is different because it targets the root cause of joint soreness and stiffness. It doesn't just cover up symptoms. Instead, it bathes your joints in its unique combination of 5 key natural ingredients found in no other product. Key ingredients backed by 5 clinical studies. Instaflex Advanced is so powerful, you could have better knees in just 1 week. Maybe that's why it's the #1 selling joint brand at GNC. But you can only get your complimentary sample by texting MOVE to 231231. Plus, text now and we'll include a tube of Instaflex pain cream with its exclusive oxygenated oil for fast-acting relief from the pain of arthritis, backaches, and sore muscles, absolutely free. Text MOVE to 231231.
To Beth for telling us about Peptiva Nighttime Probiotics.
To Beth!
Welcome, ladies. You know, the best thing about Peptiva is that I can digest food like a kid again.
No, the best thing is that I get to sleep like a kid again.
Digestion.
Ladies,
with Peptiva, you get both.
Peptiva is the first doctor-formulated probiotic that works at night with key ingredients backed by 7 clinical studies. And right now, you can get a complimentary sample by texting PIN to 42424. Peptiva works while you sleep to soothe indigestion, cramping, bloating, even constipation, while promoting digestive health. And it has time-released melatonin to help you get the best sleep of your life.
Okay, girls, what do we have next week? Tacos?
Wings chili!
Peptiva is flying off the shelves at GNC, but you can only get your complimentary sample by texting PIN to 42424. Text now and we'll include a box of Peptiva digestive enzymes to help your body digest meals and avoid occasional gas and discomfort absolutely free. That's PIN to 42424.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
Las Vegas is considered one of the most unchurched cities in the country.
But now an influx of new churches is taking Sin City by storm, fueled by social media. Senior national affairs correspondent Heather Sells reports.
Las Vegas is one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. and one of the most unchurched. It's why church planters here say this city is key to advancing the gospel.
The overall majority of people, I guarantee you, especially if they're from the West Coast, have never had someone sit down and explain who Jesus is.
Seeing themselves first as missionaries, Josh Carter and Joseph Gibbons work as Southern Baptist church planters. Their mission field, what they describe as the pre-Christian culture of Las Vegas.
These are people that did not grow up around church. It doesn't fit within their norms of how to do life.
That's why Carter, Gibbons, and their team hope to take what many know as Sin City for the gospel. They're planting 13 churches in this booming metropolis of 2 million.
Good morning, friends.
With an updated playbook that uses social media as a starting point.
It literally, that is the front door for people. They're going to check you out. They're going to follow you.
These church planters also rely heavily on meeting their neighbors face to face. For Gibbons and his wife, that has meant local Vegas playgrounds during the height of COVID.
Really, nothing was open. We have little kids, 5 and 3, and so my wife would take them out to parks, and she would meet moms.
That led to relationships that then moved toward a focus on the Word.
For us, it's about not thinking of ourselves more highly than we ought, but getting into a posture of we all need to meet each other on the ground level of the gospel.
And from there, Favor City Church began to grow right in the midst of a pandemic.
When the limit of gathering was 10, we were like, great, we have 6. And so we just started to gather.
Favor City is part of a wave of Southern Baptist plants that are moving the needle in the right direction. The denomination's North American Mission Board, or NAM, launched close to 600 last year, up 36% over 2019.
I think there is hope. You know, the North American Mission Board is planting hundreds upon hundreds of churches, surprisingly high numbers even in 2020.
And these churches are diverse. 6 in 10 last year were non-Anglo. That is crucial as experts predict that whites will decline to a minority population as early as 2045. Reporting in Las Vegas, Heather Sells, CBN News.
Still ahead, giving gas and spreading the gospel. You're watching CBN's Faith Nation.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers. But now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can immediately reduce your pain. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn about this groundbreaking new CGM technology. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how you can get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Your paycheck. Your family depends on it. But if something happened to you, you need life insurance. And chances are SelectQuote can get it for you for under $1 a day. SelectQuote found Michael, 38, a $500,000 policy for under $23 a month. SelectQuote found Anna, 37, a $750,000 policy for under $23 a month. SelectQuote's secret? They comparison shop a select group of great companies like these for your best rate. Give your family the security they need at a price you can afford. Since 1985, SelectQuote has saved over 1 million families millions of dollars on life insurance.
Call now, 1-800-546-8380. That's 1-800-546-8380, or go to SelectQuote.com.
Discover what over 1 million families know. We shop, you save.
Finally tonight, amid high gas prices, a bit of relief for some North Carolina drivers. A church in Charlotte gave away $10,000 of gas, and that's not all drivers received.
That's right, Jenna. Kingdom City Church gifted more than 300 people with free gas, grocery vouchers, and prayer, dubbing the event Gas on God.
So thankful for people like everyone here doing this for the community. And I know together anything is possible.
The gas and the lines, as you can imagine, flowed steady. One woman said she stopped simply because she wanted prayer. The event was a big hit in the community, filling cars with gas and the community overall with a little hope and cheer, and probably not too soon either with gas prices soaring.
Definitely. I think I've seen a few of those other places across the country too. It's nice to see.
Great work. Thanks for watching.